Hey, miter saw, that is. Or sometimes we call it the chop saw. It chops through the material. So let's use it real quick. Okay? I will do this correctly. Okay, so there it was, nice and easy. We'll talk about how to do that safely here. So, a couple true false. If you don't have eye protection, you should probably just close your eyes while you're using it. Is that a good idea? That's a terrible idea. Don't even do that. So, false. We want to make sure always wearing eye protection and make sure you keep your eyes open. Along with that too, some people get scared of machines sometimes and then they start to do this, okay? When I'm using a tool, I want to look right where the sawdust is going to be coming out. Because if I go like this, then it gives an opening for stuff to get into my glasses, okay? So if you look straight at it, it'll hit you in the eyes and then drop. It'll be fine, okay? I have been hit in the safety glasses quite a bit by just random scraps of wood, okay? So always keep them on. You don't want to get caught in the eye with that. Another name for this thing is the miter saw. The other name is the chop saw. Chop saw. Pulling the saw down super quickly will leave a good cut, okay? So the first cut was good. I hate doing this. I'm going to show you the difference though. So let's, I'm going to go fast. Ugh, hate it. So we'll look at the difference on the two cuts. Let's see if we can get this on the camera. Yeah, so right here especially, you can see that end grain right there. It's all tore up. And then right here. All right, so there's our torn up piece. It did not, we cut too fast on that one. And you can see the grain right here is a lot cleaner. What did it take me? It took me, another second to make the cut. But if I was gonna sand that out, it'd take a lot longer and our product's not gonna be as good. So make sure just slow and even pace. As you use these tools, you'll figure out how fast you can go. Again, we're not trying to put too much pressure on it. We just want to go at a nice, even pace there, okay? So, do not cut too fast. When I'm using this, where should my hands be, okay? So I'm going to cut right here. Does that look safe? Nah, it was bad. My hand's too close. If this board gets caught in here, it's probably going to go like this. So I'm going to pull it in like that, okay? My hand's sitting right here, and it pulls me in, bad news, okay? So, if I'm making this cut, the rule is we want about 6 inches, okay? A good idea about that is outside of this semicircle right here. So it doesn't matter which side I'm on, I want to keep my hands about 6 inches away, okay? Another question that's coming up is that where should my pressure be? I should be pushing in towards the fence. I don't want the board out here. If I start to cut, it's just going to pull it back, okay? So we're going to make sure we're against the fence and we want to keep that board down on the table. Sometimes you got a longer board and the board's doing this kind of stuff. So we want to push down and in, okay? So put that pressure towards the fence and down towards the table and have a good hold on it. Be firm, hold it in place. Always keep, when we make cuts, okay? I'm cutting this board. One of the rules is leaf. Actually, it says it right there. Leaf, long edge against fence, okay? Leaf. So this would not be a good cut. This would be a cut, if I was gonna go right here, I would do on the table saw. I need a different tool, okay? And so we want the long edge against the fence when we're making these kind of cuts, okay? So long edge against the fence. Wait until the blade stops complete before removing this gap. So sometimes you make a cut, there might be a little piece just sitting there. Let's go ahead and come up to there. It will stop fairly quickly, but make sure it stops before you start reaching in here. Sometimes as it kicks off, it does a little jog if you're not holding it tightly. And so we want to make sure the blade stops. We can clear our scraps out afterwards. Okay? Always cut right in the middle of your line. So come here. I'm going to draw a line. Okay? And I'm using my square. It's keeping it tight on there. I'm just putting a line right there. And then a lot of times I got to decide. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put this right on the middle of the line and we'll show you what's happening. Okay? So you can see that the blade has actual thickness to it. And that's called the kerf, K-E-R-F. Okay, so blade has thickness. If I line it up on the middle, then I'm going to be cutting my board too short. So when I line up on here, I want to pay attention to where is the blade. I can see the shadow, cast by this light up here. And my blade is lining up right on the edge of that pencil mark. Okay, so that's a good cut right there. My first one, no good. Okay, so pay attention to where the blade is. The blade does have thickness to it so that we can make accurate cuts. While holding the material, keep pressure against the fence and table. Remember, we already talked about that. Just a reminder. The miter saw cannot cut through bone. False. It can cut through bone easily. Okay, this is probably one of the more destructive tools. You know, a bandsaw, that's going to take a while to cut through something. This one will do it fairly quickly, just like our table saw. It's a similar blade. The kerf there allows for a lot of material to be removed quickly, and so keep your hands back. What does leaf stand for? We already hit it. Long edge against the fence. Explain the difference between cross-cutting and ripping, okay? So right now we're doing cross-cutting, and it's talking about the grain. These lines in the wood, that's called the grain, okay? So if I'm going against the grain, like on the chop saw here, we would say that we are cross-cutting, okay? If we are gonna cut along this way, we would call that ripping. I think about just like ripping along one of those lines, and that's how I remember that this is ripping, rip, and that would be done over on the table saw. So we're always going to be chopping or cross-cutting over here on our miter saw. What is the curve, and how does it affect the way you line up your wood? So again, that curve right there, that's the thickness of the blade. So that affects where you line it up so you make accurate cuts. Okay, so you know where your blade is, know where the thickness of that blade is, so that we can line it up correctly. Yeah, and so just as a newbie, what do? I bring my board up, pour it against the fence. I'm going to slide it over so that I can see my pencil mark. Okay, depending on which side I'm going to keep. Sometimes I get my eyes over on this side of the tool. And so then I'm going to make sure my hand is 6 inches away. I'm going to hold it in position tightly. I'm going to power up, and I'm not going too fast through the material. So go nice and slow. And there it is. That is a chop saw or miter saw, whichever one you want to call it. Bye.